Greetings again, fellows. Uh, Remember to like, subscribe, and notify if that's what you want to do. I'm not sure about today. I don't know what's happening. All kinds of strange stuff been going on. I don't know. You know what? I know a good one to talk about, and it's something that I have been noticing in me, an increasing paranoia. I had an errand today. I had to go to the feed store, buy some hay. So I did. Now, there's not much traffic on the road I go on from my place to the feed store. It's kind of a county road. A lot of people in the county probably didn't even know it's here. And I was going on that. Not going to the feed store, but coming back. With this car. Now, I wasn't really doing it, but I don't know why. I had the slightest uneasy feeling that they were following me. I had it happen once before. Some guy followed me, honked his horn, held his finger up at me because he didn't like my bumper stickers. Followed me for a couple of miles on a main county road. This is the road everybody travels on in the county at one time or another. To get from one side to the other, it's one of the main routes. He followed me for a long ways doing that. I ignored him, which was probably the best thing I could have done. Anyway, so I have had it happen to me. Now, this person today wasn't doing anything like that, but I'm beginning to feel some extra paranoia seeping into my... I've always been kind of paranoid about stuff like that. About people following you, and things like this where they can find out where you were by going into your internet history and on your phones. They can find out where you are right now. Okay? That's the paranoia I'm talking about. Oh, well, we can put these trackers on your kids so your kids won't get lost. Or we can put them on your elderly grandparents so they don't wander away. And yeah, that's a great... It sounds good. But if... I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Got my fingers crossed. I hope it doesn't. And, so I've had that kind of background paranoia since the 60s. But I think now it's getting to be a little different because some of those nut jobs out there have firearms and they're crazy enough to use them just because they don't like your bumper sticker. And I'm driving out there. I got a Bernie on the back. I got a resist sticker. I've got a picture of Trump that says impeached across it. Got one for the local co-op. And I got it's called a Cascadia flag. And I'm sure those who live up here know what I'm talking about. But if any of you don't, look it up. Anyway, it's kind of a country. This area of the country is considered Cascadia by some people, which is, I was watching. I think it was the Young Turks last night, and Anna Kasparian had this thing on about this guy in Nevada, somewhere out in the Nevada desert, has declared his 1 acre a separate nation of, Moloosia, Mooloosia, Moloosia. And in his 1 acre, There's like 35 people live in that area, you know. So, and just now talking about Cascadia got me to thinking. There's a couple of books that I read in my youth. I've reread again a couple of other times. I'm thinking about rereading one of them pretty soon. Author's name is Ernest Kallenbach. He wrote 2 books that I recommend. He might have written others, but these are the 2 that I recommend. One of them's called Ecotopia, Ecotopia. And the other one is, he wrote Ecotopia first. Then he wrote a prequel called Ecotopia Emerging, which is of the 2, I like it more because it gives some more explanation about how Ecotopia came to be. The first one, Ecotopia, just tells you about Ecotopia. It's basically a section of the country from the Canadian border down to San Francisco, and from the ocean to the mountains, the first set of mountains, has become a separate country called Ecotopia. Interesting story. Very interesting. Sometimes I wish it would come about. So, yeah. Now, Kallenbach's one of my favorite with those books. And then Edward Abbey for the Monkey Wrench Gang. And let's see what Hey Dude Lives. I mean, the old monkey wrencher in me. I've never done it. Tempted. Very tempted sometimes. You know. Getting back to the paranoia. I mean, I don't know how far around the crazy bend some of my neighbors, meaning people who live in the county here. Now, Bellingham, the local city, the city nearby, is quite liberal. Black Lives Matter signs, you know, there's a protest that's been going on there since the 60s every Friday in front of the old federal building. You know, it's quite a liberal place. After all, we are on the left coast, as they say. The county, as is usual, the rural areas, is a bit more conservative. A bit more. Back in up to the 2020 election, there was a gentleman just down the road had a big sign on his fence about Trump. And it was something to the effect, God's guts and glory, or God, guns and glory. Trump. You know, so that's the area of the country I live in. So, you know, there's a lot of people out here. Local town nearby, as you drive out to go out into the other part of the county, there's a person they still have Trump signs in their yard. And a lot of the current election group, people that are running in this part, they're quite. There's some really conservative people, really. And there's Democrats. And, you know, to me, they're centrists, but, you know, that's me. And it's quite a religiously conservative area, at least from what I've seen. You know, there's a few liberal, but again, in town, in the urban settings. There's a Unity Church, there's a Unitarian Church, you know, I don't know what else. Anyway, so I have been having increasing paranoia. I think even before now, back when when this country had a fucking conniption fit and elected that person, who I won't mention, elected him to be president. And I've had the feeling some of his followers were, back then I had the feeling that they were up for civil war. Now they're even saying it. Yeah, bring it on, you know. What happened in the last Civil War? Hundreds of thousands of Americans dead. Period. And it only partially fixed the problem that the war started over. You know? Only partially. Didn't fix it completely. I mean, it got rid of slavery, but they still had the second-class citizenry. What did I saw the other day. I've seen several videos of her talking, and I read a book of hers, I think. Jane Elliott. Wow, I would love to know that woman personally. I mean, okay. I did one earlier about divisions between people and how we divide ourselves in many ways over things that have no meaning, you know. And skin color is one of them. She doesn't call people black or white. Black people, well, are what most people say. She refers to them as melanistic. They've got melanin, they've got a lot of it in their body. So their skin is darker. People like myself and her are melanemic. We don't have that much. And we're not really white anyway. We're actually kind of beige, pink. Beige, that's a shade of brown. It's a very light shade of brown. You go the other way, you go very dark shades of brown. But it's all brown because we're all human. And that's what it's really about. We're human. All of us. You know? And anything that divides us is not good for us. These right-wing evangelical Christian churches are set up purposely to divide us into them and us. The right-wing Christian people and just a minute.